Hello, my name is Maya K. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Sister Wives season 17 episode 6, and still gonna put out last week's video. I just didn't do it because I was being lazy, but we're here now, so I'm gonna put out this video and hopefully that will get out soon. Let's get to the episode. We start off with Cody and Christine sitting down talking about how they're gonna tell their youngest daughter Truly that they're getting a divorce. They've yet to tell her just because they haven't found the way how they want to tell her, and Cody is still in denial about the whole situation. And he has somehow convinced himself that him and Christine are going to get back together. And they need to work out custody and how will it work since Christine is going to move to Utah with Truly. And what they worked out so far is that Cody will have Truly for 3 or 4 days and she'll be at Robin's house, so they'll make a room for her over there. And then she'll come back and live with Christine. I figured they were gonna live at Robin's house anyways because that's where Cody is a majority of his time and where he prefers to stay over Mary and Janelle. So yeah, Christine is completely fine with that because she describes it like Truly doesn't really get to see her dad a lot, so having 3 or 4 days with him is basically a luxury for her compared to the other kids. It shouldn't be a luxury, but it's like the other kids see their dad 1 day out of the week and maybe spend like an hour or 2 with him and then does whatever else he goes on and do with the wife or whatever. So she's basically has it good at that point compared to the other kids, and it shouldn't be like that, but it sadly is. And Robin says she's excited about it just because the younger kids will get to spend more time with each other. And she also goes on to talk about how in the back of her head she keeps this little hope that Christine and Cody will work something out and will be back together. And I understand having hope to a certain extent, but I've been having that hope that they'll work it out when they were trying to work it out, well, when Christine was trying to work it out. Because I haven't watched that many seasons of Sister Wives, but from what I watched, Cody had no interest in repairing the marriage. He was fine with whatever because he was under the belief that Christine was never going to leave him, or under the belief that Christine needed him. He felt like he didn't need to put in any effort, which he was obviously wrong. So why have that hope now when you could have had that hope earlier? And why didn't she push for Cody to continue growing and building his relationship with his other wives? And I get it, it's not her job to do that, but figuring that you are the favorite wife, you could have definitely pushed for it a little bit more in the beginning than you are now. And I feel like now she shouldn't want that because it's obvious that Christine is miserable, and why would you want your sister wife or former sister wife to be miserable? And I feel like it's a terrible marriage, and it's better for the both of them they just go their separate ways. Mainly better for Christine. She don't have to deal with Cody anymore. I mean, she's always deal with Cody regarding to like Truly, which hopefully that's not hell. Figuring how Cody is, I'm pretty sure it will be hell. Honestly, only time can tell, but my point was Christine deserves to be happy with or without Cody, and that's without Cody, and I think that is 100% okay. But anyways, and Cody's really hoping that Christine changes her mind about you moving to Utah because, no, they're not in Utah, but they're in Flagstaff. I don't know where the hell that is. I'm guessing somewhere in like Wyoming or like Montana or something like that. But that's where they are, and he wants to make it easier on himself, so he's hoping that Christine will stay in where they are. The thing I do not understand about Cody, why does everything have to be easier on him? Do people not deserve for things to be easier on them? Like, not the only person making compromises and sacrifices. Cody has to get that idea out of his mind. He's the only one making the change. He's the only one making some sacrifices. He's the only one dealing with this. You're not the main character, Cody. And I'm pretty sure Cody's life is difficult and has like difficulties and all that stuff, but you're also not the only one, so like kind of get over it. And also his life would be a lot easier if he would make better decisions. Like literally his life would be so much easier, and I guess you could say that for anyone, but specifically with Cody, ain't obviously the right decision going right, but he will turn left just to say, hey, we'll see what happens, when you could crash and burn, when you could have turned right and could have went to the right place and to the right destination. But no, you like to overcomplicate things. But I'm gonna stop ranting about Cody and finish this scene up. They start talking about how Christine moved Cody's stuff out of the house and put it into the garage. He says he didn't get permission to do that, but the marriage was already over before that even happened. And you weren't really there anyways, so it really did not make a difference. And she would have done that if you would actually put a little bit of effort in. And something that just kind of blows my mind is that his wives aren't really even asking for a lot. Like, they're literally asking for the bare minimum, and Cody cannot give that. Like, the bar is in hell. And he goes on to say something that I found kind of weird, that he kind of sold this idea to his wives that they had control, but he ended up losing control in the end of the situation. It's like, you never had control over your life to begin with. Someone who's in control of their life will have good time management, will know when time to walk away from something and make good financial decisions, which I don't want to get into their finances in this video. In one of these videos one day, I'm going to rant about how like they make terrible financial decisions, but whatever. He sold the illusion and the illusion backfired on him. That's literally all that has happened. Anyways, then he asks Christine what does she want to do with her portion of the food storage, which the food storage is like this thing where they stock up on a whole bunch of food like flour, toilet paper, and other stuff they need just in case like the world were to end, because they were taught that by their religion, prepare for the end. Prepare for like the end of times. I'm not sure what they call it in their specific religion, but I grew up Christian, so like the end of times is where everything is going bad. There's no positive. The world is literally crashing. I mean, they say it literally every 10 years or every couple of years, so I never know when it's gonna happen, but that's how they describe it. So I don't know what they call in their religion, but that's basically what they're talking about. And Christine doesn't want anything to do with it. She doesn't know where she stands with her religion, so there's no point of holding on to it and living in fear, which I completely understood not living in fear, because there was like a point in time where I was like heavy into religion to the point where it was no longer about like my relationship with God. It was purely just about like me not going to hell and me fearing I'm gonna go to hell, and like believing their rapture is gonna happen anytime I hear something unordinary or like odd. But luckily I have gotten myself out of that and I'm living a much healthier life. And Cody's feeling like everything is moving too fast and like this is being rushed, but this has been going on for years and Cody's just now catching up and dealing with it. So it's moving fast for you, but it's been moving pretty slow for Christine for years. But he feels like his wives need him, and obviously that is not true. But yeah, they did not come to a conclusion about what they're gonna do about telling Truely about the divorce, but we do see what happens with Christine telling Truely later on in the episode though. Let's move on to Janelle and her RV. She stayed at Mary's Airbnb for the night and it's been closed down for a couple of months, but it's opened up now. The reason why Janelle and Cody stayed there was because they're still trying to get Janelle's RV stuff figured out, and Cody's rushing because he wants to get back to the smaller children at Robin's house because he feels like he cannot be away from them more than 2 or 3 days. But he does not feel about any of his other children, even the ones who are like in their teenage years, not just the adults. I guess I could get the adults because they're their own life to live, but your teenagers, they don't think they need you, and your youngest ones only need you. Specifically the ones at Robin's house. What about Truely? Pretty sure she needs you just as much. I feel like this is a prime example of how Robin is the favorite wife and how her and her children are golden gooses to the other ones. I don't know if golden goose is like the right term to use, but I think it is. But then Mary goes on to talk about her marriage with Cody, saying it's not like a husband and wife relationship, but of course she would want it to be that way, but she feels like Cody has no interest in doing that. And we go to Cody, and Cody says he thinks his marriage is great with Mary and it's not like a husband and wife relationship, but it doesn't really bother him and he doesn't really think Mary's okay with it, but she goes along for the hell of it, I guess. And he says that because he feels like Christine is betraying him and Mary isn't. Which, why does he say that? You betrayed your wife by not treating her the way she should have been treated. And it wasn't even like she was asking for this overall queen treatment or anything. She was just asking you to have like mutual respect and mutual love, and that's really it. And you should already go into that if you're getting married. Like, that they thought she'd be established, but I don't think Cody ever really felt that way for her. He was just, okay, I get another wife, cool and fun. Something else for me to control and another life for me to ruin. I don't know why he really feels that way. You're the reason why your marriage failed to begin with, Cody. And I feel like this also shows by him saying that he doesn't think Mary's okay with their marriage. Shows how like he really doesn't care if everyone else is unhappy. As long as he's happy and he gets what he wants, it does not matter anyone else feels or what they want for themselves. But moving on to Christine. They're packing for Isabella to move in with her sister Maddie in North Carolina because that's where she's going to college at. And while she's in college, she's going to live with her sister. And that's really good because it's someone that she knows and someone who can still keep an eye on her and not necessarily like spy on her or anything, but just give her guidance if she needs. any along the way, because Christine won't be there to give it to her. And they're all very excited, but it's a little bittersweet for them, especially for her sister Gwendolyn. It's Gwendolyn, I mean, because over the past couple years they've gone really close. Then they go into like this kind of bit of a rant about how Gwendolyn is part of the LGBTQ plus community. I forgot what she said she was. I know she's a part of the community. And they talk about when Mariah came out, which is Mary's daughter, she automatically knew that her daughter Gwendolyn was gay. And that's funny to me because so many parents will go so long without knowing that their children are gay, and all the flags are there, like, but they're just choosing to ignore them, I guess. But then also I could see how you wouldn't know, because every person who is gay, bisexual, lesbian, they aren't blatantly wearing pride flags, going to pride parades. So like, I get how you wouldn't know, but people who are gay, bisexual, lesbian, they definitely have a certain look and aesthetic, like you can just automatically point out, and like they could be gay and the chances are high. So I found it funny how she automatically knew, and that's really good for Christine, because it's always good to get to know your child more and more and more as they grow into who they are. But moving on, since there's going to be a road trip for Isabel to go to college, Christine invited Cody. He decided not to come because of COVID, and I'm not understanding why he's using COVID as an excuse for why you can't go on a road trip with your kid for them to go off to college. Like, that's a pretty big deal. Maybe it's not a big deal for Cody because he has so many kids and like it's going to happen 18 different times, or it's happened a couple of different times. But still, and I think also him not wanting to be away from Robin and her kids also plays a part into it. And I hate that for Isabella, because she didn't seem to really be bothered that Cody wasn't there. She was fine whether he was there or rather he wasn't. And I feel like if you have a decent relationship with your parents, I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like I would be upset if one of my parents did not want to see me go off to college and they simply just didn't care. Because it seems like Cody has not cared about Isabella going off to college, going back to regular high school for her senior year. Like, he just doesn't care. I feel like that reflects on the relationship that they have, and Cody should really be ashamed of himself. But in Cody's defense, I'm not defending him, he's defending himself. He says that he has more people to worry about and take care of other than Isabella. And then he's just like, I have other priorities, all that stuff. And it's like, Cody, you will make time for the things you really want to do and the things you care about. There are 24 hours in the day, and I don't mean to be that type of person, but if you really wanted to, you can make your way on that road trip and make sure that no one had COVID, take COVID tests, wash your hands, don't get too close to each other, whatever, and make sure that, y'all stay safe. So if you really cared, you would really put the effort to do so, but you don't care. And he also goes in how this is further pushing the narrative for Christine to push that Cody doesn't care, Cody isn't there, and he could care less. And he says Christine is further pushing that narrative, but Christine isn't pushing any narrative. If anything, she's just proving it and showing it and really opening her children's eyes, in my opinion. And she's also not even doing that, I would say. You do that on your own. There's like this repetitive pattern with Cody. It's Christine's fault, it's Mary's fault, it's Janelle's fault, it's the kids' fault, it's COVID's fault. It is no one's fault but yours, Cody. When you really want to do something, you will do it. There is no excuses for stuff that you care about, especially when it comes to your kids, and if you want to see them achieve and hit their goals in life. If you really wanted to see it, you would, but he doesn't. So it's nobody's fault but yours, Cody. But going to Isabel said she was okay with her dad not coming because she would say like they have an okay relationship, like it's fine, and she would say she's closer to her mom than she is her dad. And I get someone's always going to be closer to one parent than the other, but it's like, I feel like you still at least have a good relationship when it comes to your parents, not on the child's end, of course, on the parents' end. And it's kind of sad that she had to say that about the relationship she has with her dad, especially for him to be present in her life, or partly present, and he can't bother to maintain a relationship with her. And she's kind of sad that she's leaving everyone, but her relationship with Robin, Janelle, and Mary will always maintain the same. And there's all love, and there's no distance she'll think be created other than physical distance. And I'm not a crazy fan of polygamy for the reasons that have been explained through these whole 17 seasons. But one benefit I do see is for the children, how they can have a lot of support around them. Unless they're like in one of those weird cults like the LDS, the LDS or whatever it's called, then maybe not. But when it's like not cultish and not illegal, then yes, I get how someone could want to do this for their kids. But then again, just because you feel it's good for the kids doesn't mean it is good for you. But moving on, Christine and her kids and Robin and Mary go see Janelle at the property where she has stationed her RV. Which is something I don't understand. They split like one scene that could have been one scene into like 3 different scenes. Because we really could have wrapped up Janelle's portion of the show in like the very beginning or towards the middle and just called it a wrap. There's no reason this had to be like 4 different scenes about this RV. But anyways, let's just get into it. Janelle says this is where she's happy at and this was bringing her the most peace of mind, and she doesn't know if it saved the money in the end or make them spend more money. It really doesn't matter because she just wants to be happy and at peace. And I'm no one to judge anyone's financial decisions, but why couldn't Janelle move in with like Robin or like a Mary for a year or 2 so she could get her house built? But I guess they don't want Janelle living with them, or like I get it, because who wants someone living in their house when they have to, especially for like a year or 2, so I get it. But like also, why wouldn't you in the same sentence? I don't know if I'm making a lot of sense, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. But anyways, Janelle just wants to live on the property and get this over with, and she's unsure if everyone else wants to live on the property because they seem unenthused about it. They don't seem to be putting any effort towards moving onto the property. And then we get the other 2's wives' views, and Robin says that she hopes they move onto the property one day, and they still plan on building. There just have been roadblocks in the way when it comes to the whole property in itself. And then we go to Mary. Mary's just kind of done with the property. She will be completely fine if they sell it, if they don't do anything with it. She didn't exactly say that, but that's the vibe she definitely gave off. I feel like I don't care what we do with it from this point on. It is what it is. And it's looking like they're probably just going to end up selling it, I feel. Like, I truly feel like that's what's going to happen, because they still need to pay it off, which we'll talk about paying it off in the very end of the video. But I don't know if they ever plan on paying this off or how they're going to pay it off. They just might end up selling it and washing their hands with it and kind of living their separate lives. But enough of that, let's actually get to the RV. The RV is pretty big for an RV. It's not big in general, but compared to other RVs I've seen, this is a pretty nice big RV. These are the RVs that the people have like when they live in their RVs and like they film like a YouTube channel living in their RVs. This is that type of RV. I'm pretty sure it's a decently sized RV and pretty livable wise. And of course, Cody is not happy about it. I'm not even going to rant about Cody because I've ranted about him so much in this video. But Cody doesn't want to live in an RV. He says that it's too small and he'll probably just end up spending more time at Robin's house than he would just living on the RV. And Janelle doesn't care because she wants to live her life for her. And one of the things was like the dogs, because I guess Cody felt like there wasn't enough space for the dogs and he didn't want the dogs there. Basically when him and Janelle are having sex, but I don't think they have sex though. Like, they can't be, or maybe I'm judging a book by its cover, but I highly doubt that. He doesn't want the dog there, and I get that, but also you over there like 2 hours once out of the week, like you'll be all right. I don't know if I made any sense what I just said, but you get my point. Janelle said when it comes down to choosing Cody or the dogs, she's choosing the dogs. She's going to choose the kids and the dogs, and like end a discussion. And I'm glad, but Cody acts like a dog. He's just a person who dogs other people out. Is the best sincere way I can describe it. And Cody says this is just pushing him farther away, but it isn't always about you, Cody. It is not always about life being a convenience for you. Why can't it be a convenience for other people? And it's sometimes not even a convenience for them. It's more difficult to go this route trying to have you involved. It is just not having you involved at all and pushing you away, washing your hands with you. Like, they're obviously trying with you and you're not trying with them as well. But you know, Cody is very self-centered. But anyways, they look in the RV. They think it's a pretty nice RV and that Janelle will like living in it, and not too much happened in the scene, or not enough I was paying attention to. But they're all like, as long as Janelle is happy, they're happy for her. And lastly, we move on to Christine and Truly found out about the divorce. Now, the conversation did not happen on camera, but how Christine explained it is that Christine was on the phone with one of her kids talking about how she's so excited to move to Utah and they're ready for her to be there, and Truly overheard the conversation. Even though her and Cody had not talked about how they were going to tell Truly about the divorce, she had no choice to tell her at that point. Of course, Truly was very upset about that, and she kind of didn't even really try to ease her into it. She just told her the truth and got it all done and over with, and said that me and your dad are already divorced because they are not legally married, they're only spiritually married. And I think I talked about earlier how Christine doesn't even know where she stands with her religion, so being spiritually divorced and all of that isn't really worth it at the end of the day. And even though it hurts her to see Truly so upset, but she knows it's better for her in the end because Christine can be around people who she knows and loves, and she can be closer to the rest of her children, and gives Truly the opportunity to build a stronger relationship with her older siblings who have moved out and moved away and have moved to Utah. And here Cody goes again, talking about Christine pushing this narrative that he doesn't want to be there and all this stuff. I've already ranted about this. Cody's the problem, and I'm gonna leave it there. And Christine just feels like crappy mom because that's something really hard to tell your child, especially when you feel like you've done as much as you could to make it work and you just have nothing left to give. And now she gotta make Cody aware that she didn't told Truly, and of course Cody's gonna be upset about it, but she had to do it at the end of the day. She just gonna lie dead in her face and then later on tell her the truth? Like, no.